My name is Gavin Evans, and this is my review for Causeway. Now, I wasn't going to watch this movie just because the plot is about this woman who comes back from Afghanistan with PTSD, and I understand the relevance and the importance of stories like this, but it is something that we've seen done plenty times before, so I was going to skip out on it, but then I saw the director and her name is Yila Nirjbao. I probably mispronounced her last name, but when I looked into who she was, she actually directed one of my favorite TV shows of last year, Made. If you haven't seen it, it's a really great emotional show. So I was just like, you know what? I have to watch this now. I was such a huge fan of Made, and hopefully I'm a huge fan of this movie. So I just watched it, and is it bad? No. Is it good? Not really. It's just one of those movies right down the middle for me. But let's begin talking about what I did like, and I do think it's a very well directed movie. It's very minimalistic, but I do think that works to the film's advantage. I think it's very well shot, and the performances are great. Jennifer Lawrence, she took a bit of an acting break, but I'm glad she's back. You can say what you want to say about her as a person. I definitely have, I'll just leave it at that. But she is a phenomenal actress. I think she is so great in the Hunger Games franchise. I think she's amazing in Silver Linings Playbook and American Hustle. I thought she was great in X-Men First Class and X-Men Days of Future Past. Just those two she's really good in. I'm actually one of the very few people on the planet who thought Passengers was a good movie. I thought she was great in Mother, which is one of my favorite movies, period, of the past decade. So I'm a big fan of her as an actress, and watching this movie, it reminded me of just how good she is. This is a completely different kind of role for her. It's much more quiet, but she just pulls it off so perfectly, and she hits every beat she needed to. But you've also got Brian Tyree Henry, who everybody's like, he's one of the best actors working today. And I've never not liked him in anything, but I've never seen anything that he's great in. And I won't say he's quite great here, but he's pretty dang close. This is the most impressed I have been with him. I think he's very talented and he brings layers and nuance to his character. You've also got Linda Imond, who plays Jennifer Lawrence's mom in this movie, and she does a really good job as well. You've got Jane Howdyshell, and she plays this one lady who's only in the first 10 minutes, but I actually thought she had quite the impact. She was really good. And you've got this one actor, and I'm starting to see him in a few other movies and shows. Stephen McKinley Henderson. He was in Dev Season 1. He was in Dune, and I think he was in Ladybird. Yeah, I think he was in Ladybird, but I like this guy. I like him a lot. I think he's a very talented actor, and I think he's really good in the short time he's in this movie. So the cast is really what elevates this movie. And I do think the script has some strong elements to it, especially in the characters. The characters do have depth to them. You think you know them, the characters think they know each other, but then there's more to them that they didn't understand before. And that all really comes together in this one great argument scene in the last act that I thought really elevated the movie. But where the movie didn't work for me as well as I would have liked it to is in the friendship between Jennifer Lawrence and Brian Tyree Henry, because it's these two broken people trying to be okay, and their entire friendship is built on that, and it just doesn't make for the most interesting duo on screen. They're two very quiet people, they both have a past, they both are suffering from some form of trauma, and usually I like it when there's a bit of a contrast. And here the characters are a bit too similar and a bit too quiet. And You know, if you think that works for you, I understand. But for me personally, I just didn't care about this friendship as much as I needed to. And I also felt like the movie didn't work on an emotional level. Even though the performances are great and the characters do have depths, not once did I feel emotionally connected to anything going on screen. And that's a purposeful decision. It is trying to be as minimalistic as possible, but I think when it comes to the writing here, that was a terrible mistake. For a movie about two broken people just trying to find connection in this world again, I should feel some sort of emotion to that, and I just didn't. And I am the biggest wuss when it comes to watching movies. I cry an embarrassing amount. I shouldn't even say that out loud, but it's true. You watch me play Last of Us 2, I'm a weeping mess that entire game. You watch me watch Arcane Season 1, I'm a weeping mess that entire season. You watch me watch How to Train Your Dragon 3, Toy Story 2 or 3, Up. There's a bunch of movies. I cry all the time, and not once did I even come close to crying here. And it's just, you need that emotion. You need it to feel connected to what's going on screen. And almost every movie has some form of emotion, whether it's feeling happy, you know, when you're watching a comedy, when you are angry and enraged when watching a movie like Misery, when you're in fear watching a horror movie. And for movies like this, you need that sadness. You need something to connect to there. And I just felt like that was completely lacking here. You know, and by the end of the movie, they try to tell you that Jennifer Lawrence's character changed, but I just don't buy that transformation. I felt like it worked better as a character study instead of a character arc, and I feel like this movie could have benefited from flashbacks. Like, we only know her during the period of time this movie takes place in. I wish they kind of showed her life before all of this happened. If we had flashbacks to her in the military or beforehand, when she was a bit more carefree, when she was a bit more happier. And then we see everything going wrong and how she got to this place. I know that sounds very generic, but I think it would have elevated this character and added some real emotion in there. And you take a movie like Manchester by the Sea. It's a very minimalistic movie. It is very quiet. It's very somber, but my goodness, is it devastating. That scene with Casey Affleck in the police station just breaks me every single time. That scene when he talks to Michelle Williams is devastating. And it's just two small moments in like a 2.5 hour long movie, but they have so much weight behind it that they elevate the entire movie. And the flashbacks add layers to the character. And I just think the movie would have worked better if they approached it like they did in Manchester by the Sea. But look, this is not a bad movie. If you're curious about it, give it a try. But I just don't think I'll ever watch it again, and I don't think I'll be thinking about this movie tomorrow. And that affects my rating for a movie a lot. I think there was some great stuff on display. The performances, the writing behind the characters, there is some real depth to them, but I feel like the writing in other regards could have been a lot stronger. It's a very straightforward, minimalistic movie, almost to a fault. And if they had a bit more to it, had a bit more emotion, just tried to tug at those heartstrings in an authentic manner once or twice, I think it could have made all the difference. But for a movie like this, about people suffering from PTSD, I have to feel more than what I did. I have to. So I'm only going to give Causeway a 5 out of 10. With a slight recommendation. But I didn't even address my biggest issue with this movie. And my biggest issue is that Jennifer Lawrence, the entire time, will also watch like this. I hate when people do that. It's supposed to be like this. You're supposed to look at your wrist and see the time. Not like that. It drives me nuts when I see people do that in movies or real life. You're not wearing your watch properly. Even if it's all subjective, It's not, it's objective, where you'll watch like a normal, proper person. But anyways, did you watch Causeway? What did you think about it? Let me know in the comments down below. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Stay tuned for some more videos soon, and Gavin out.